everybody. In today's video, I want to talk about my greatest passion, and that is Cape buffalo hunting. I've been very fortunate to be on buffalo hunts in several different places: Tanzania, Zambia, and in Namibia on the Caprivi Strip. I personally only hunted buffalo in Tanzania and in Zambia. Partaked in the buffalo hunt with my dad in the Caprivi. And essentially, we technically hunted buffalo, not Cape buffalo, but we hunted dwarf forest buffalo while we were in Cameroon. Seen a cow, could have shot a cow, didn't want to do that. So I've hunted buffalo in several different places. I've experienced quite a bit of buffalo activity in South Africa. And so I want to talk to you guys about it. I want to share what you should expect, especially if you're the first time Cape buffalo hunter. I want to talk to you guys about what you should expect on a safari, kind of give you a breakdown of how the day-to-day operations run throughout my buffalo hunting experience. Again, I haven't experienced every country, haven't experienced every hunt of a buffalo species, but I've experienced quite a bit of buffalo. Spent 21 days in Tanzania, 14 days in the Caprivi, 14 days in Zambia. So, I'm 40-something days into buffalo hunting. And like I said, I've experienced a lot of buffalo throughout different places in South Africa as well. So I just want to go over and kind of give you guys a rundown what to expect. This is a great bull my dad actually took in the Caprivi. Probably one of my favorite bulls that we've been able to take throughout our safari hunting career as a family. And this bull is just super cool, worn down, old Duggaboy tips on him. This is a true dream bull here. He's just old, mature bull. And if you haven't watched my video about telling the difference between a soft boss and a hard boss Cape buffalo, I suggest you go check that one out. But I want to just give you guys kind of what to expect and what you guys should do. First off, the minimum requirement in a lot of countries is 375, 9.3 by 62, and the 9.3 by 74R fit the bill for that as well. That's just to reinsure that you guys are using enough gun. Again, 375 is the minimum. It's a great dual caliber. I've shot many bulls with a 375. Works great. Shot placement is good. Just learn how to shoot it. Very low recoil for the calibers that are adequate. Now, my dream is to have a 470 or 500 nitro that I take on a lot of buffalo hunts. It's good for hunting elephants and all the dangerous game essentially. But so make sure you follow the requirements, look into the country you're hunting, talk with your PH, make sure you have a rifle that meets the requirements. Again, 375 works great, hits a lot of requirements all over the board, and is a great rifle for you to be packing with you. When you're going on safari, especially when you're getting into countries like Zambia, hunting the Caprivi, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, countries like that where you're going to do a proper buffalo hunt in true wild Africa, what's going to happen is you're going to be doing a lot of walking. So you want to make sure you have good shoes broken in that you can walk in. I use a lot of Courtney boots. I actually have a pair of Jim Greens on right now that I'm steadily breaking in and getting ready for their first debut for me to go to safari with them, to go on safari with them. And so you want to make sure you have a good pair of boots. I do not recommend taking your favorite deer and elk hunting hiking boot that's stiffer and has a higher ankle. I just don't think that's what you want to do. You're going to really regret it. You want to have something comfortable, something that you can walk a lot of miles in. Typically, you're not going to be doing a lot of hiking up and down mountains. Sure, there is some hills and some mountain stuff within Africa, and I've hunted buffalo in quite a bit of that country within Tanzania and the Rungwa, but you don't need a boot that's going to take you through a lot of mountain terrain. You want something that you can walk a lot of miles on. You're going to spend a lot of time walking. A lot of it's going to be flat walking, might be in some sandy country. So yeah, I just recommend taking a pair of, running shoes work great. These Jim Greens, Courtney's, and what's the boots we took to Cameroon? The La Pampa or whatever, high tops. Those work great as well. I'll put those in here. I'll find out which ones those are. So get a pair of shoes, break them in well ahead of time. Make sure you can walk in them and be ready to walk, because that's what is required on a buffalo hunt. Go to the range, get that 375, make sure it's dialed in, practice shooting it. A lot of people do develop maybe a jerk or a flinch, so maybe don't shoot your 375 every time at the range. Maybe take a 22 or a 22-50 or a smaller caliber to really practice your shooting and working the bolt, because being able to work the bolt is key. I mean, I've done several videos on it. When that moment comes and you shoot that buffalo, you don't need to admire the shot. You need to be able to work the bolt. So practice working the bolt, but also make sure you get reps in with that 375 or whatever caliber that you're going to use that fits the minimum requirement, because you want to have the experience, you want to have the knowledge, you want to be comfortable with that gun when it comes time to going on that safari. And your PH wants you to be comfortable, and he's going to know that when you go to the range, whether he understands that you're comfortable with that gun or not. So get comfortable with it, practice shooting, get a set of shooting sticks, practice off the sticks, because that's how you're going to shoot a buffalo. You're going to be shooting off the sticks, unless you get lucky and find a tree perfectly where you're at to be able to make a shot from. But primarily you're going to be shooting off shooting sticks. So buy yourself a set of shooting sticks and get comfortable using those. Learn how to work them, learn how to maneuver them, learn how to adjust them to you. Because when the PH puts those sticks up and you get on there, you want to be ready to rock and roll. Get a good bullet that's going to hold weight, it's going to expand, going to mushroom good. I'm a big Barnes fan when it comes to buffalo hunting. A lot of guys use Swift A-frames. A lot of guys use Woodlight bullets. So just find a bullet that you like. Maybe you already are a big Barnes fan, or maybe you're a different bullet manufacturer fan. As long as that bullet holds together and can work well, get those. Speaking of bullets, a lot of PHs, it was kind of like this misconception back in the day, or kind of like this thing, and this is just my opinion on it. A lot of guys would put a soft in for the first one and then be shooting solids. I never did that. I put softs in, all the way. I was fully loaded with softs. I never had a solid in. And some guys, the reason for this was they had solids in case of a charge. They could bring the buffalo. And that's whatever. That's a great idea. But as long as you're shooting good, you shouldn't have to deal with a charge. So I was always I'm a big component putting softs in and making your shots count. And I'm sure if it comes down to it, a good quality soft bullet will stop a charge. And that's why you pay your PH to be there anyways. But for me, I just load up softs, and I had, for an example, I experienced in Tanzania. I shot a buffalo, worked the bullet, and my PH kept saying, wait, and then the buffalo vanished in with the herd, and he thought I was the typical safari goer where I loaded solids, and he didn't want me to shoot a solid and punch through the bull and hit another buffalo. In the end, we tracked that buffalo probably 100 yards, crawled in on him, and was able to get the bull. But then he learned that I wasn't the typical safari goer that packs a lot of different, like I don't pack solids below my softs. And that's something you should talk about with your PH prior to time. Maybe they do want you to put solids in below your softs. Ask them, you're hunting with them. They should have a little bit of say, because it's, their responsibility to keep you safe, but it's also your responsibility to keep each other safe and have a good communication skill between each other. So that covers kind of your bullets, your shoes. Again, break those shoes and be ready to walk, get in the best shape you possibly can, because you will enjoy a cave buffalo hunt more when you can get out and walk, because that's what it is. It's a tracking hunt. That's how buffalo hunting is done. A true legit buffalo hunt is done by tracking. And so that's how a buffalo hunt is done. It's done by tracking. You're going to spend hours behind the trackers. Sometimes it's going to result in a bull, sometimes it's not. The herd might catch your wind and vanish off. Sometimes they might cross into a park, depends on the area you're in. And sometimes, plain and simple, you might get up to the herd and there might not be a shooter bull. There might not be an old Dugga boy like this in the group, or there might not be a solid boss, 45-inch wide bull. It might just be young buffalo and cows. So you got to be prepared to track again and again, and you might get lucky the first day, get on the first set of tracks, and boom, you find a bull like this that you dream of taking. Sure, that's happened, and it does happen quite often, but more often than not, you're going to spend days tracking. You're going to be into it 3 or 4 days before you probably do get a chance at your first buffalo, And in South Africa, I'm not 100% sure on, how it really works on a lot of the game farms. I haven't done any buffalo hunting in South Africa as of yet. But to me, when I do, and I will eventually, when I do, I still want to do it the original way of tracking the bulls. I do know there's a lot of videos across this YouTube platform and social media showing guys shooting from the truck. That's not a buffalo hunt to me. That is not the experience of a buffalo hunt. And it just doesn't do it the justice of it, because when the guys like me and other true Africa enthusiasts talk about buffalo hunting, we talk about getting on the tracks and spending the time following the bulls and passing up bulls and going into new groups and coming up short. That's what we talk about when we talk about buffalo hunting. We talk about the true passion of it and the true enjoyment and the thrill of, is this going to be the one that leads to the bull of my dreams, or is this going to be just another long day behind the trackers? So shooting one from the truck doesn't fancy me at all. It doesn't get me excited at all, and it's just not really what a buffalo hunt truly is in my eyes. It's to each their own, but if you want a true buffalo experience, you need to get out and track them. Regardless if you're in South Africa. If you're in South Africa, still make it a point to tell your page, hey man, we're not shooting from the truck. We're not going to jump out the truck and shoot near the truck. I want to track these buffaloes. So even if you see them from the truck, let them run off. Let them do their thing. Drive away, come back in a little bit, get on the tracks, whatever it takes to make it the experience that you want when hunting a Cape buffalo, because that's what it is. It's about the experience. It's not about the size of bull you put in the salt. It's not about how many bulls you put in the salt. It's about the experiences you have while in pursuit of that Cape buffalo. It's the true hunt itself. And, between buffalo hunting and elephant hunting, there's nothing else out there that gets the sheer joy of spending time behind, getting into the groups, learning how they act, learning, what happens if you spook them or if the wind changes. There's guys that have tactics and PHs, that have tactics. They charge in on them at last light if they spook them because they're only going to go a short distance, because then they'll turn and face what's, coming for them. It's just different tactics like that come into play, and different experiences come into play when hunting these amazing animals, and just to get to see them as something else. So that's how it's going to be. You're going to do a tracking hunt, and that's how it should be. And so I'm going to break it down and tell you how your day usually goes when it comes to hunting buffalo. You'll get up early, you'll have a light breakfast, a cup of coffee or tea, get ready to go and head out at first light. You don't want to leave before light unless you're trying to get to a far area of the concession, because you want to be driving down the road when there's light enough for the trackers to see. And I kind of skipped ahead. Usually, a lot of guys do this as, in certain areas, what they'll do is they'll even, when you're heading back to camp, driving through areas that you've already checked, they'll tie a piece of branch behind the truck and drag the roads. They do this a lot in elephant hunting too. You drag the road to wipe clean any old tracks that could be misleading. That way okay, we drug this road last night at 5 p.m. or we drug this road yesterday at 1 p.m. These tracks have happened between now and then. You get a sense of how far ahead the buffalo are ahead of you. So they'll drag the road, and in the morning you'll start out from camp. Like I said, you don't start super early. You start as it's getting light so the trackers can see, unless you want to get to a far end of the concession, maybe where you left off on a big bull the day before or a scrum calf the day before. But traditionally, you start out looking for tracks, and when you come across the tracks, you'll see whether, how fresh they are. The trackers and the PH will talk. They'll discuss, okay, this is going to be a Duggaboy group, this is a single bull, or this is a herd of buffalo. They'll talk, they'll decide, okay, this is what we want to do. You'll get off the truck, you'll gear up, you'll load your rifle then, you'll get ready to rock and roll. Trackers, one will usually be carrying a little satchel. Either he'll be the one behind you or he'll be the second in command tracker typically, that has a little bag, and it'll have water for you for the day. And then you'll head out. You'll have your trackers and your PH, and sometimes you will have a water boy or a bag boy with you that will pack, snacks and water with you, depending on how long they think it's going to take, and you'll head off from there. Sometimes you'll catch up to the buffalo very quickly. Sometimes you won't catch up to them at all, like I've stated. And that's the excitement of it. And you'll spend hours in the heat. Sometimes when you catch up with the herd, they might be bedded, and you might have to sit down in the heat. Hopefully you find a nice shade tree to sit by, and you wait for the buffalo to get up and start milling, so then you can get a look at what's in the herd. And you might have to wait back a little bit because of the wind. It's just all part of the true experience of hunting buffalo. And your PH and your trackers are going to know this. When you're hunting those countries such as like Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Tanzania, this is like their livelihood. And a lot of these trackers have grown up doing it their entire lives. They're professionals at it. They know how to read the soil. They know how to read the ground. And sometimes as you're walking, especially if you're only tracking one or two bulls, sometimes it seems like they're just tracking dirt. You don't even witness the tracks. You don't see the tracks, and then you'll go a little ways and boom, there'll be some fresh buffalo dung there, or you'll catch a track in a soft spot. But you think, man, how are these guys tracking these buffalo? How do they know that we're doing this? And sometimes they'll even veer off when they think they're getting close because they know where the buffalo are going to be. They just have that, that knowledge and that ability to know, okay, the buffalo, I know we've been in this area before. We know where they're kind of going before. And it's just cool to watch the trackers work. That is a very big part of the buffalo hunting experience or elephant hunting, is to watch the trackers work. They're great at it. It's a skill that very few people know, to be able to do what they do and track the buffalo the way they track them. And like I said, it's all about the experience and the memories that are made on the buffalo safari. It's not about shooting the biggest, widest bull. It's about the memories you had and the enjoyment you had. And I suggest that, if you want to go to Africa and if you want a great experience and, it's something that you can afford, doing a buffalo hunt is something that's unmatched. It's an incredible experience. It's something that I could do every month. I wish I could go on a buffalo hunt every month. It's something that I want to do on every safari if it's available in the area or whatnot. And if I'm going to a country such as Tanzania or Zambia or even back to the Caprivi in Namibia, I want to have a buffalo on license. I've went on hunts where I didn't have a buffalo license. It's sort of sad because it's like, man, I missed out on hunting another buffalo. I have some buddies that have hunted a lot of buffalo, over the 100 mark type of deal. And, it's not about the trophy for them. They've shot lots of just scrum cat bulls, lots of just 36-inch bulls, bulls that are not even as cool as this bull in short, but, yeah, it's something I could do all the time. There's a lot of guys here, I live in the West, and there's a lot of guys that will hunt, 4 or 5 mule deer a year, and they won't shoot a very big buck. They'll shoot bucks between 150 and maybe 170, and they'll shoot 4 or 5 of them, and that's their cup of tea, that's their joy, and I'm not taking anything away from them because that's how I feel about hunting buffalo. And it could be a 34-inch solid boss bull, 36-inch old bull like this, or it could be a true giant of a bull that is over 40 and has solid bosses. So to me, it's about, that's my cup of tea, that's what I want to do, and that's my true love and passion is hunting buffalo. And there's a lot of guys that know a lot more about it than me, and there's several of them that I want to get on to a podcast to talk to you guys about it and explain more in depth on it, because that's what they do for their livelihood. They've been a part of well over, some are over 1,000 buffalo hunts in their belt and over their lifetime, and I think it's cool to hear stories from them, and it's more of a selfish thing for me to get them type of guys on because I just want to hear the stories and I want to be able to listen to them again and again. And so just be prepared to track, be prepared to get on your feet, walk, spend the time, practice shooting, practice working the bolt, listen to your trackers, listen to your pH, and just enjoy watching the trackers do their job, because that's what it is. It's the experience of following the trackers and learning how they do it, and just taking all of Africa in on a buffalo safari. And that's why I love hunting buffalo. And so if you're looking to do a safari and on the fence about doing a buffalo hunt, get off the fence, do the buffalo hunt. It'll be worth it. And again, if you're doing it the right way, tracking and hunting old, solid boss, mature bulls, it's unbeatable. And it's an experience that I think you guys should do and should enjoy. So thanks for watching this video. Thanks for listening. If you're on the audio platform, subscribe to the channel. Share the show with a friend. Remember, I have a free Safari 101 course. I have my Safari help, and I have my free Safari planning ebook on my Sim Safari's website. All this information is free for you guys, downloadable, printable, savable, to help you learn more about booking your next or your first safari and going on a dream hunt, such as a Cape Buffalo hunt like this. So guys, thanks again. Subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, and check out all my free content at simsafaris.com.